Hey everyone, Garbage here. Back in the early days, video games had this very distinct box art that was nothing like the box art we see in modern games. They were colorful, hand-drawn, highly detailed illustrations depicting spaceships and epic battles and grand adventures that looked nothing like the actual games themselves. And you might be wondering why we don't see this kind of artwork in video games anymore. Well, I was curious too, and so I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that much of what we remember of old video game art is thanks to the video game company Atari, who were known for having some of the best box art in the industry. At the time, video games were a brand new medium, and a lot of people were convinced that video games were a fad that would soon die out. However, Atari's founder Nolan Bushnell saw the potential in the medium and invested a lot into the packaging of Atari's games, hiring artists to create video game box art that took inspiration from movie posters and album covers as a way to elevate games as an art form and compete with music and books and film. In a lot of ways, the role of the video game artist carries a significant amount of weight. Back then, the games were very basic with simplistic graphics and oftentimes little to no narrative content. And so it was the job of the artist to fill in the blanks and create fantastical worlds out of literal pixels in order to stir up the imagination of young gamers. Because even though the games were cutting edge technology at the time, it would have been difficult to sell them based purely on the graphics alone when things like movies and comic books offered so much more to look at. And so in many ways, it was thanks to this really intricate artwork that the gaming industry was able to survive and grow to what it is today. And that leads us to why we don't see this kind of box art anymore, because as technology improved and video game devices became more and more powerful, it became much easier to sell games based on their graphics alone without having to hype them up with drawings of astronauts and explosions and giant monsters that may or may not be in the actual game itself. More and more, the game developers were able to express their artistic vision through the game rather than through external media thanks to the improved graphics, which leads us up to today, where even the idea of box art is starting to fade away as more and more games become digital downloads only. Either way, regardless of whether you personally find this old art style appealing or not, you can't deny that it got people's imaginations fired up and probably sold quite a few copies of the games. I'm just glad we're able to look back on it now and see how things were when gaming was just a little bit different. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any particular game art that you really like in the comments. Like, subscribe, and bell. Twitter link down below. And as always, have a nice day.